Graham. Mitchell maintained her professional composure, though her heart rate increased. How can I help you? I need surgery. Heart surgery. The doctors say I need a valve replacement, and they all say you're the best in the country. Mitchell looked at Graham's medical file. The diagnosis was serious but treatable with surgery. When did you start having symptoms? About 6 months ago. Shortness of breath, chest pains. I ignored it at first, thought it was just stress from work. Work? Mitchell asked, though she kept her tone clinical. Graham looked embarrassed. I never became the successful businessman I thought I would. I've been managing a small electronics store for the past 15 years. This is my wife, Anna. Anna stepped forward nervously. Dr. Schneider, we don't have much money. We heard you sometimes do pro bono cases. Mitchell looked at Graham's parents, who had aged considerably since she'd last seen them. Friedrich, once so proud and overbearing, now looked frail and worried. Dr. Schneider, Ingrid said, her voice shaking, I know things ended badly between all of us. But Graham is our only son. The doctors say if he doesn't have this surgery soon, he could die, Mitchell finished. I understand. The room fell silent. Graham looked at Mitchell with desperate eyes. I know I don't deserve your help, he said. I know I was terrible to you. I tried to control you, tried to make you give up your dreams. I was wrong about everything. Why now? Mitchell asked. Why come to me? Because you're the best, Graham said simply. And because I owe you an apology. 20 years overdue. You were right to follow your dreams. Look at what you've accomplished. I'm proud of you, Mitchell. I should have been proud of you 20 years ago. Mitchell studied Graham's face, looking for signs of manipulation or insincerity. But all she saw was genuine regret and fear. I'm sorry too, Friedrich said suddenly. We all are. We should have supported you. We should have believed in you. We were wrong, Ingrid added, tears in her eyes. So very wrong. Mitchell closed Graham's medical file and looked directly at him. Of course I'll perform your surgery, Graham. It's scheduled for tomorrow morning. Relief flooded Graham's face. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not doing this for you, Mitchell said calmly. I'm doing this because I became a surgeon to save lives. That's what I do. The next morning, Mitchell stood at the scrub sink, preparing for Graham's surgery. Dr. Hoffman, now in her 70s but still sharp, appeared beside her. Heard about your patient today, Dr. Hoffman said. The ex-boyfriend who tried to stop you from becoming a surgeon. Word travels fast around here. Are you okay with this? Mitchell thought for a moment. 20 years ago, he told me I wasn't meant to be a surgeon. Today, I'm the only person who can save his life. There's a certain poetry to that. Indeed there is. The surgery was complex. Graham's valve was severely damaged and calcified. But Mitchell's hands were perfectly steady as she worked, her movements precise and confident. After 4 hours, she successfully replaced the damaged valve with an artificial one. Beautiful work, Dr. Hoffman said as they closed. Graham is going to make a full recovery. When Graham woke up in recovery, the first face he saw was Mitchell's. How do you feel? She asked. Like I can breathe again, Graham said, his voice hoarse. Thank you, Mitchell. You saved my life. Just doing my job. Graham tried to sit up, wincing slightly. No, it's more than that. You could have turned me away. After everything I put you through, everything I said to you. I took an oath to do no harm and to heal when possible. Personal feelings don't enter into it. You're a better person than I ever was, Graham said quietly. I spent 20 years thinking you made a mistake when you chose surgery over me. But the mistake was mine. I should have chosen to support your dreams instead of trying to kill them. Mitchell checked Graham's vital signs on the monitor. Everything looked perfect. The woman you became, Graham continued. The lives you've saved, the people you've helped. You were always meant for this. I was just too selfish and insecure to see it. A week later, Graham was ready to be discharged. As Mitchell finished her final examination, he asked the question she'd been expecting. What happened to your parents? Do you have a relationship with them? They reached out a few years ago, Mitchell said. Sent a letter congratulating me on a medical award I received. We've been slowly rebuilding our relationship. They admitted they were wrong to give me an ultimatum. And romantically, did you ever? I dated some in my 30s. Even got engaged once to another surgeon. But I realized I was trying to fill a space that didn't actually feel empty. My life is full, Graham. I have work I love, colleagues I respect, patients whose lives I get to save. Not everyone needs the same things to be happy. Graham nodded, understanding. I'm glad you found what you were looking for. As Graham prepared to leave with his wife and parents, he turned back to Mitchell one final time. Can I ask you something? That day at the restaurant, when I proposed, did you know immediately that you were going to say no? Mitchell thought back to that moment. The ring, the expectant faces, the weight of everyone's expectations. No, she said honestly. For a few seconds, I almost said yes. It would have been easier. But then I remembered Dr. Hoffman waiting at the hospital, and I realized that easy isn't always right. And you never regretted it? Never. Not once. Graham smiled, the first genuine, non-manipulative smile she'd seen from him in decades. Then I'm happy for you, Mitchell. Really happy. After Graham left, Mitchell returned to her office to find Dr. Hoffman waiting with a cup of coffee and a knowing smile. So, Dr. Hoffman said, how does it feel to save the life of the man who tried to stop you from becoming a surgeon? Ironic, Mitchell laughed. But also, satisfying. Not in a vengeful way, but in a way that feels like the universe has a sense of humor. What do you think would have happened if you had said yes that day? If you had married Graham and given up surgery? Mitchell considered the question seriously. I think I would have spent my whole life wondering what if. I would have been miserable, and eventually, that misery would have destroyed any relationship we might have had. Graham needed someone who wanted the life he was offering. I wasn't that person. And now? Now Graham gets to live because of the choice I made 20 years ago. He gets to watch his children grow up, celebrate anniversaries with his wife, maybe even meet grandchildren someday. If I had married him instead of becoming a surgeon, none of that would be possible. Dr. Hoffman raised her coffee cup in a toast. To making the right choice, even when it's the hardest choice. To following your dreams, even when everyone tells you not to. They clinked their coffee cups together, and Mitchell felt a deep sense of satisfaction, not just from saving another life, but from the recognition that every difficult moment of the past 20 years had led to this moment of perfect clarity. That evening, as Mitchell reviewed patient files for the next day's surgeries, she received an unexpected visitor. Her assistant knocked and announced that her parents, Heinrich and Maria, had arrived. Send them in, Mitchell said, curious about this unscheduled visit. Her parents entered somewhat hesitantly. They looked older, grayer, but there was something different in their expressions, pride mixed with regret. We heard about Graham, her father said without preamble. That you operated on him. News travels fast in a small city. We also heard, her mother added, that he couldn't afford to pay for the surgery. That you did it for free. Mitchell nodded. I do several pro bono cases each month. Heinrich sat down heavily in the chair across from Mitchell's desk. We came to apologize. Again. More thoroughly this time. Dad, we've been through this. We're rebuilding our relationship. The past is. No, Maria interrupted. Let us say this. 20 years ago, We gave you an ultimatum. We told you to choose between your family and your dreams. It was cruel and wrong. We were scared, Heinrich added. Scared that you would get hurt trying to achieve something we thought was impossible. We couldn't see past our own limitations to recognize your potential. But watching what you've accomplished, Maria continued, seeing the lives you've saved, the respect you've earned. We realize now that we didn't lose a daughter 20 years ago. We revealed that we didn't deserve the extraordinary daughter we had. Tears welled up in Mitchell's eyes. These were words she had longed to hear for 2 decades. We're proud of you, Heinrich said simply. Incredibly, amazingly proud. And we're sorry it took us so long to say it. Mitchell stood up and walked around her desk to embrace her parents. For the first time in 20 years, she felt like she had her family back, not because she had changed or compromised, but because they had finally understood what she truly wants. 6 months later, Dr. Mitchell Schneider stood before a packed auditorium, delivering the keynote address at the National Medical Conference. Her topic, Following Your Path, When Personal Dreams Serve the Greater Good. 21 years ago, she began. I was a medical student with sweaty palms and a dream that everyone told me was impossible. I was told I didn't have steady enough hands to be a surgeon, that women weren't meant to cut people open, that I should focus on being a good wife and mother instead of chasing silly dreams. The audience listened intently as Mitchell continued. Last month, I performed my 2000th successful surgery. I have trained over 100 medical students and residents, many of whom are now saving lives in hospitals around the world. I have developed new surgical techniques that have been adopted internationally, and I have established a scholarship fund for underprivileged students who want to pursue careers in medicine. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces, doctors, nurses, medical students, researchers. None of this would have been possible if I had listened to the people who told me I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or strong enough to pursue my dreams. The irony is that some of those same people are alive today because I didn't listen to them. Laughter rippled through the audience. But this isn't a story about proving people wrong. It's a story about the importance of believing in yourself when no one else will. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest service we can provide to others is to become exactly who we're meant to be, regardless of others' expectations. After her speech, Mitchell was approached by dozens of young medical students and residents, many of them sharing their own stories of family pressure, self-doubt, and dreams deferred. One young woman, barely 25, grabbed Mitchell's hand urgently. Dr. Schneider, my name is Sophie. I'm a second-year medical student, and my fiancé wants me to quit school to start a family. He says I can always go back to medicine later, but I know that's not true. What should I do? Mitchell looked into Sophie's eyes and saw herself 20 years earlier, scared, uncertain, but with a fire burning inside that refused to be extinguished. Sophie, let me ask you something. If you quit medical school now, will you be happy in 10 years? Will you look back and feel satisfied with the choice you made? Sophie's eyes filled with tears. No. I'll always wonder what could have been. Then you have your answer. The people who truly love us want us to be happy and fulfilled. If someone is asking you to give up your dreams for their comfort, they're not asking you to love them. They're asking you to love them more than you love yourself. But what if I lose him? What if you lose yourself instead? Sophie nodded slowly, understanding dawning in her eyes. Remember, Mitchell continued, you're not choosing between love and career. You're choosing between someone who supports your dreams and someone who doesn't. Choose wisely. As the conference concluded and Mitchell prepared to return home, she received a text message from an unknown number. Dr. Schneider, this is Anna, Graham's wife. I wanted you to know that Graham is doing wonderfully. The surgery gave him his life back. But more than that, your story has inspired our teenage daughter, Emma. She wants to become a doctor now, and Graham couldn't be more supportive. Thank you for showing our family what it means to follow your dreams. Anna. Mitchell smiled, thinking about how life comes full circle in the most unexpected ways. The next morning, Mitchell arrived at the hospital to find Dr. Hoffman waiting in her office with a special surprise. A young girl, maybe 8 years old, sitting nervously in the chair across from Mitchell's desk. "Mitchell, I'd like you to meet Isabella Weber," Dr. Hoffman said. "She's Professor Weber's granddaughter, and she's here for a very special reason." Isabella looked up at Mitchell with wide, curious eyes. "Are you really Dr. Schneider? The one who saves people's hearts?" "I am. And who are you, Isabella?" "I'm going to be a doctor too," Isabella said with the confidence only children possess. "My grandma told me that you became a doctor because another doctor saved your life when you were little, just like me." Mitchell's attention sharpened. "Just like you." Dr. Hoffman explained gently, "Isabella had a serious accident last month. She fell from a tree and suffered internal injuries. You performed the emergency surgery that saved her life." Mitchell's breath caught. She remembered the case, a young girl brought in unconscious, massive internal bleeding, touch-and-go surgery that lasted 6 hours. She had been so focused on the medical emergency that she hadn't really connected with the patient personally. "You saved me," Isabella said matter-of-factly. "And now I want to save other people too." Mitchell knelt down to Isabella's level, just as she had done with that little boy years earlier. "Do you know what the most important thing about being a doctor is, Isabella? Making people better. That's part of it. But the most important thing is never giving up, even when people tell you it's too hard or that you can't do it. Do you think you can do that?" Isabella nodded solemnly. "I'm not afraid of hard things." "Then you're going to make an excellent doctor someday." As Dr. Hoffman walked Isabella and her family out, Mitchell felt the profound satisfaction of witnessing the continuation of a cycle. One life saved inspiring another to save lives in return. That afternoon, as Mitchell finished her surgeries for the day, she received an unexpected phone call from her assistant. "Dr. Schneider, there's a call for you from Vienna Medical University. They say it's urgent." Mitchell took the call, wondering what could be so important. "Dr. Schneider, this is Dr. Martin Fischer, Dean of Vienna Medical University. I'm calling to offer you the position of Chief of Cardiac Surgery and Director of Medical Education. It's a prestigious position that would allow you to train the next generation of surgeons while continuing your own practice." Mitchell was stunned. This was one of the most respected positions in Austrian medicine, a role that would allow her to impact hundreds of future doctors. "I'm honored by the offer, Dr. Fischer. May I ask why you chose me?" "Your reputation precedes you, Dr. Schneider. But more than your surgical skills, we're impressed by your commitment to mentoring young doctors and your ability to inspire them to pursue excellence. We believe you're exactly what our program needs." After discussing the details, Mitchell asked for time to consider the offer. As she hung up the phone, she realized that this opportunity represented the culmination of everything she had worked toward. Not just professional success, but the chance to help others achieve their dreams the way Dr. Hoffman had helped her. That evening, Mitchell called Dr. Hoffman to share the news. "Vienna Medical University wants me to head their cardiac surgery program," Mitchell said. "That's wonderful. Are you going to accept?" "I think so. It feels like the natural next step. I can continue operating, but I'll also be training dozens of future surgeons every year." "You know," Dr. Hoffman said thoughtfully, "when I first met you 20 years ago, I saw something special. Not just potential, but determination. You had this fire in your eyes that said you wouldn't be stopped, no matter what obstacles you faced. I learned that from you." "No, my dear. You already had it. I just helped you recognize it." 3 months later, Dr. Mitchell Schneider stood in the main lecture hall at Vienna Medical University, addressing her first class of medical students as the new chief of cardiac surgery. "Welcome to your surgical rotation," she began, looking out at 60 eager faces. "Over the next 3 months, you'll learn the technical skills necessary to save lives. But before we begin, I want to tell you something more important than any surgical technique. She paused, thinking about her own journey from that uncertain young woman with shaky hands to the confident surgeon she had become. Some of you will face people who tell you that you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not steady enough to be surgeons. Some of you may even be told that your gender, your background, or your personal circumstances make you unsuitable for this profession. Several students shifted uncomfortably, clearly relating to her words. I want you to remember this moment, Mitchell continued, because 21 years ago, I was sitting where you are now, listening to people tell me all the reasons I couldn't succeed. Today, I stand before you as proof that they were wrong. She gestured to the observation windows overlooking the surgical suites below. In those operating rooms, you'll find surgeons of every gender, every background, every personality type imaginable. What they all have in common isn't perfect hands or fearless confidence. What they have is an unwavering commitment to saving lives and the determination to never give up on their dreams. A young woman in the front row raised her hand. Dr. Schneider, what do you do when you're scared? When you doubt yourself? Mitchell smiled, remembering asking Dr. Hoffman similar questions years earlier. You breathe. You focus. You remember why you wanted to become a doctor in the first place. And you trust in the training and preparation that brought you to that moment. After the lecture, several students approached Mitchell with personal questions and concerns. One young man, Hans, lingered after the others had left. Dr. Schneider, may I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you ever regret not having a family? Not getting married and having children? It was a question Mitchell had been asked many times over the years, usually with the implication that she had sacrificed something essential for her career. Hans, let me ask you something. Do you think a person can only find fulfillment in one way? That there's only one definition of a meaningful life? Hans considered this. I guess not. I have a family, Mitchell said. It's not a traditional family, but it's mine. I have Dr. Hoffman, who has been like a mother to me. I have colleagues who are like siblings. I have hundreds of patients whose lives I've touched, and dozens of students I've mentored who are now saving lives around the world. She gestured around the university. I have little Isabella Weber, who wants to become a doctor because I saved her life. I have Sophie, that young medical student I met at the conference, who chose to follow her dreams instead of giving them up for someone else's expectations. Every life I save, every student I inspire, every barrier I break, that's my legacy. That's my family. Hans nodded, understanding. It's just a different kind of fulfillment. Exactly. And the beautiful thing is that everyone gets to choose their own path to fulfillment. My path led me here. Someone else's might lead them to traditional family life, or art, or business, or teaching. The tragedy isn't in choosing one path over another. It's in not choosing at all because you're afraid of what others will think. 5 years into her tenure at Vienna Medical University, Mitchell had transformed the cardiac surgery program into one of the most respected in Europe. Her students consistently scored among the highest on their medical boards, and her surgical techniques were being taught in medical schools worldwide. On a crisp autumn morning, Mitchell received a letter that would bring her story full circle in the most unexpected way. It was from Graham's daughter, Emma, now 23 years old and in her final year of medical school. Dear Dr. Schneider, the letter began, you probably don't remember me, but I'm Graham Brenner's daughter. You saved my father's life 6 years ago, and in doing so, you changed the entire trajectory of our family. Mitchell remembered Graham mentioning his daughter's interest in medicine, but she hadn't thought much about it at the time. Watching my father recover from surgery and hearing him talk about how wrong he had been to discourage your dreams inspired me to pursue medicine myself. I'm writing to ask if you would consider allowing me to do my surgical rotation under your supervision. I know it might be awkward given the history between you and my father, but I believe I could learn so much from you. The letter continued, My father talks often about the mistakes he made when you were young, and how your success despite his discouragement taught him to support my dreams instead of limiting them. In a strange way, his experience with you made him a better father to me. Mitchell was moved by the letter and immediately called Emma to arrange a meeting. When Emma arrived at Mitchell's office the following week, the resemblance to Graham was striking, but there was something different in her eyes, determination mixed with kindness, ambition tempered by empathy. "Thank you for seeing me, Dr. Schneider," Emma said. "I wasn't sure you would, given everything. Your father's past mistakes aren't your responsibility, Emma. Tell me why you want to become a surgeon." Emma's face lit up. "When I was 16, I watched you operate on my father. I saw how you took something broken and made it whole again. But more than that, I saw how you treated him with compassion and professionalism despite how he had treated you. That's when I knew I wanted to be able to do what you do, not just technically, but ethically." "And what does your father think of your career choice?" "He's my biggest supporter now. He tells everyone about his daughter who's going to be a surgeon, just like the brilliant Dr. Schneider who saved his life." Mitchell smiled at the irony. The man who had once tried to prevent her from becoming a surgeon was now proudly supporting his daughter's identical dream. "I'd be honored to have you in my program, Emma. But I want you to understand something. I won't go easy on you because of our family's history. If anything, I might be harder on you because I know what you're capable of. I wouldn't want it any other way." Over the following months, Emma proved to be one of Mitchell's most dedicated students. She had inherited her father's intelligence but none of his arrogance or need to control others. Under Mitchell's mentorship, Emma flourished, showing exceptional skill in the operating room and genuine compassion with patients. One day, as they were reviewing surgical cases together, Emma asked the question Mitchell had been expecting. "Dr. Schneider, do you ever think about what would have happened if you had said yes when my father proposed? If you had given up surgery and married him?" Mitchell considered the question seriously. "I think about it sometimes, but not with regret, more with curiosity about parallel universes. What do you think would have happened?" "Honestly, I think we both would have been miserable. Your father needed someone who wanted the life he was offering, and I needed someone who supported the life I was creating. We were incompatible not because we were bad people, but because we had fundamentally different visions of what life should look like." "But if you had married him, I wouldn't exist," Emma pointed out. "That's true. And the world would be missing out on what I believe will be an exceptional surgeon." Emma blushed at the compliment. "Do you think my father understands now why you made the choice you did?" "I think your existence is proof that he does. The fact that he's supporting your dreams instead of trying to limit them shows me that he learned from our experience." As Emma's surgical rotation neared its end, Mitchell was preparing her final evaluation when she received an unexpected visitor. Graham, now in his 50s and looking healthy and content, appeared at her office door. "I hope you don't mind the unannounced visit," he said. "I wanted to thank you for mentoring Emma. She talks about you constantly, how much she's learned, how inspiring you are. She's an exceptional student. You should be very proud." "I am. But Mitchell, I also came here to say something I should have said years ago, more directly than I did after my surgery." Graham sat down, choosing his words carefully. "I spent 20 years thinking you had made a mistake when you chose surgery over me. I told myself that you would eventually realize you needed someone to take care of you, that you'd come back and admit I was right." He paused, looking around at Mitchell's office, the diplomas on the walls, the medical journals, the photos of her with patients and students. "But standing here now, seeing what you've built, watching how you've inspired my daughter, I realized the mistake was entirely mine. Not just in trying to control you, but in failing to see that the woman I claimed to love was already perfect exactly as she was." "Graham, we were young." "No, let me finish. You became exactly who you were meant to be. And because you had the courage to choose your dreams over my comfort, Emma now has a role model who shows her that women can achieve anything they set their minds to. Graham stood up to leave, then turned back one more time. I named Emma after you, you know. Emma Mitchell Brenner. I wanted her to carry a piece of your strength with her. After Graham left, Mitchell sat in her office reflecting on the strange turns life can take. The man who had once been her greatest obstacle had become, in an indirect way, one of her greatest validators. That evening, as Mitchell prepared her final evaluation of Emma's rotation, she wrote, Emma Brenner possesses all the qualities necessary to become an outstanding surgeon. Technical skill, emotional intelligence, dedication to patient care, and the resilience to overcome obstacles. But more than that, she represents the next generation of physicians who understand that medicine is not just about healing bodies, but about inspiring others to reach their full potential. Emma's graduation from medical school was a celebration attended by her entire family, including Graham and Anna. As Emma walked across the stage to receive her diploma, Graham stood up and applauded louder than anyone else in the auditorium. After the ceremony, Emma approached Mitchell with tears in her eyes. Dr. Schneider, I can't thank you enough for everything you've taught me. Not just about surgery, but about believing in myself and following my dreams no matter what obstacles I face. You already had everything you needed, Emma. I just helped you recognize it. What's next for you? Emma asked. Any plans to slow down? Mitchell laughed. Slow down? I'm just getting started. I'm launching a new program next year, a scholarship and mentorship initiative for underprivileged students who want to pursue careers in medicine. We're calling it the Dreams Without Limits Foundation. That's perfect, Emma said. Can I help? I was hoping you'd ask. As the celebration continued around them, Mitchell felt a deep sense of completion. Not the completion of an ending, but the completion of a circle, from the little girl whose life was saved by a surgeon, to the young woman who almost gave up her dreams, to the surgeon who saved lives and inspired others, to the mentor who was now training the next generation of dreamers. On the anniversary of that fateful day when she had walked out of the restaurant, Mitchell received a package with no return address. Inside was a photo of a young woman in surgical scrubs, standing confidently in an operating room. The accompanying note read, Dr. Schneider, you don't know me, but you saved my mother's life 3 years ago. Watching you work inspired me to become a surgeon. I just completed my first year of medical school, and I wanted you to know that your courage to follow your dreams gave me the courage to follow mine. Thank you for showing me that being true to yourself is the greatest gift you can give the world. Maria Kova, future surgeon. Mitchell smiled, thinking about how one moment of courage, one decision to choose dreams over comfort, had created an endless chain of inspiration that would continue long after she was gone. But most of all, she felt grateful for that scared young woman who had stood up in a restaurant 23 years ago and said no to a life that wasn't hers to live. That single moment of courage had created not just a successful career, but a legacy that would inspire dreamers for generations to come. And now, as Dr. Mitchell Schneider prepared to save more lives, train more students, and break more barriers, she knew that the best was yet to come. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and share this video with your friends and loved ones. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell to know when we drop new videos. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Until next time, keep dreaming without limits. See you in the next video.